Hello everyone, welcome back to the Startup Talk Show. Today I'm very pleased to host a very special guest today who is also a fellow chartered accountant, Anuj Parekh. Anuj completed his chartered accountancy in 2013, then went on to do his MBA from IIM Bangalore in 2015. Anuj has worked in various domains in different organizations before starting his own startup called HealthySure. HealthySure, he's solving a major problem in India of health insurance. We'll talk more about what Anuj is building in this show. Welcome to the show, Anuj.
Hey, nice to be a part of this show, Siddhant. Happy to be a part of it.
So, Anuj, how we start in the show is we try to cover the journey of our guest. So, what has been your journey like being a student, then when you started CA, articleship, how you completed? What's your journey like?
So I would say that as a student, I was the most mischievous person in school. I would always be infamous for standing out of the class, yet scoring amongst the top 3 students within the class. So everyone would always be puzzled कि यार ये बंदा बाहर खड़े punishment लेके कैसे इतने scores ला रहा है. But somehow I managed to crack up studies when I was with my personal space. I don't like to study in groups. I want to have my own personal space when it comes to academics. But thereafter, yes, as things progressed, when I went into college, started pursuing C along. So there was a lot of seriousness that came along. But yes, I had a very good bunch of friends around me who would always keep up the tempo and the fun element. And हाँ मतलब हंसते खेलते सारी पढ़ाई हो गई and पता भी नहीं चला. So it was all about enjoying what we are doing.
Correct.
Whether it was work, articleship, CA studies, managing or juggling around with multiple commitments, and everything sailed through.
Yeah. So आपका articleship किधर था यहाँ पर?
So I articled with Grant Thornton for a year into statutory audit, and for a couple of years I was with TP Oswal and Associates into taxation.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
After doing CA, you also did MBA, and there's always a question with all the students कि MBA करना चाहिए कि नहीं, and कब करना चाहिए, and कहाँ से करना चाहिए. A lot of questions. So,
correct.
What will you say about that?
So I would say that there are two cases of students here. One is a student who's already cleared his CA, and for him whether he should pick up MBA or not. And another is a set of student who is struggling to clear his CA and whether he should pick up MBA or not. So let's talk about the first case where a student has already cleared his CA and whether he should opt for MBA. So I feel that back in the days when we had graduated in 2013, there were hardly any opportunities. I was also a rank holder then, but I hardly got an opportunity to work in a business side role. People would look at CAs, perceive them as a traditional accounts, corporate finance, or say a tax kind of a candidate, but they would never perceive them to be an operations, sales, program or strategy sort of a candidate.
Yeah.
Like finding strategy roles was very tough in those days. So I felt that to break into such roles, you would always want to like shelve away that tag of being a CA and rather position yourself as someone who's here to just explore himself. And that platform was coming through an MBA program. But roll it forward 10 years now, and I feel that the world has completely opened up. The perceptions around CAs have changed. So I feel that doing an MBA for a CA in the current scheme of things or current era is practically not relevant. You can actually join startups like ours, HealthySure. We are more than happy to absorb candidates who want to switch from a CA career. And talking about the other side of candidates who are struggling to clear CA, if they are able to find good work opportunities, they should focus on that. And possibly after 2 years, 3 years of experience, they may possibly want to do an MBA if they feel that yes, they want to grow in the hierarchy within an organization, because having some decent academic qualification always helps as you want to grow up the career ladder.
Got it. Understood. Anuj, you started working in different companies. So tell us about that journey, and then how did you decide from shifting from a stable job to a risky startup to start something on your own? What helped you make that decision?
So when I was with my previous role at Octus Advisors, where I was consulting a new age infrastructure project of Hyperloop, I guess the kind of exposure that I received talking to different set of stakeholders, we had consultants on one end, we had the program managers on the other end, to even say coordinating with the government side stakeholders, it opened up the entire horizon that yes, there's an impact that you could deliver. And while it was you could say a big brand of Virgin Hyperloop, for which I was working, but actually it was nothing but a startup.
Correct.
And even prior to that, I was working with Mahindra SmartShift, which was into logistics tech space, got acquired by Porter. Even there, I was part of their core team driving finance and strategy. So at every stage, I felt that I'm able to closely observe business from close quarters and able to build on things to deliver impact. So I felt that now I've gotten that exposure wherein I can start something of my own. And thankfully, my parents never discouraged me from doing that. In fact, my wife also works within HealthySure.
Nice.
Getting her on board was very tough to convince parents that, okay, both the children are working together in a same startup, because they would always want to diversify the risks. But when it came to me, they were like quite open about it. Also, before doing MBA, I also had a stint of running a QSR chain.
Oh,
At
nice.
that point in time, again, my parents were fully supportive. They also said that अगर यही click हो रहा है तो MBA भी क्यों कर रहा है? So possibly it was that show of confidence from my parents' side that they felt that possibly I could build something
Correct.
on my own, and they always encouraged me for that.
Starting something in insurance, how did you go about कि यार insurance में start करना? Because this industry is of course underpenetrated industry, but when you see the competitors out there, in terms of when insurers are there, then there are big insurers like in health would be, I think, Star Health Insurance, the biggest insurer. When different ICICI is again a big insurer. Then there are brokers whom we have always bought insurance. Now you have come in place. How did you decide first to start something in insurance only?
Yep. So, like to the users here, I would like to say that what do we actually do? So, we are into the space of simplifying employee benefits, right? From say very small enterprises of 2 employees to as large enterprises of 10,000 plus employees. We aggregate insurance and health and wellness programs where we unify the journey of accessing and availing such insurance and health and wellness services. So any user on the platform can instantaneously choose a plan based on his budget to protect and secure his team with a comprehensive health, accident and life coverage. And over and above that, he can avail services for doctor teleconsultations, medicines home delivery, health checkups, mental wellness and all of that. So for the likes of SMEs and startups, this has traditionally been a challenge.
Correct.
And when it comes to insurance, yes, you have like 30 plus insurers who are manufacturing insurance at one end. But on the other side, you have like 100 million plus organizations in the country, of which less than 5% companies are penetrated. So there's that gap of 95% which we are trying to penetrate by innovating on the distribution of the value chain. And this is where we see that white space and we would want to enter.
Got it. So now you are selling mostly to the SMEs and
I would say
startups.
SMEs, startups and even the large enterprises.
Got it. What kind of new products you are launching? We were talking about Flexi Top-up insurance. So tell us about that also.
Yeah, so the whole genesis of HealthySure was that we realized that when an employee is provided a health cover by his employer or his corporate, he somehow doesn't get enough confidence. He has uncertainty. What is that cover? Who is that insurance provider? What is that sum insured? And what are the terms and conditions which are hidden and not visible to the eye?
Yeah.
And second is that the biggest worry that they carry is that if I switch my job, then anyway I'm losing that insurance. Will my next employer give me an insurance?
Correct.
And in India, there's no such regulation to mandate insurance for corporates. So there's always that uncertainty. And in India, there's no social security also above 60 years of age.
Yeah.
So any employee would always, who is taking his finances seriously, will always worry about the fact that he would need a personal health insurance of his own at some point or the other. So we realize that there's a case of duplication. Employer भी दे रहा है, employee खुद से ले रहा है.
Correct.
So and claim होगा तो एक ही जगह से होगा at a time.
Yeah.
So we decided that why don't we optimize this very specific case where we encourage a wider set of employees to comprehensively cover themselves by using the corporate cover as the base. So we have launched an industry first, you could say Flexi Top-up insurance, which we call as FTI, wherein any employee who gets a coverage from their corporate of say 5 lakhs, they can upgrade it by additional 30 lakhs and make it a comprehensive 35 lakh cover by just paying 2,000, 3,000 extra.
Got it.
As against spending say 25,000 over a 35 lakh cover in the retail market. So we unlock 90% savings for them. And the beauty is that even if they switch jobs, they can carry forward the cover and convert it into a base plan. So that is one such innovation that we've done. But there are a host of innovations that we are doing in the pipeline, which will appeal to the new age audience that we are catering to.
Also, health insurance in general has been always missold in India.
Correct.
So, how are you solving for that? And even if you're selling to maybe your employers, then the employees, how do you make sure that they understand what they're buying in terms of insurance, what they cover?
Correct. So, more than mis-selling, it's the awareness.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
when it comes to retail insurance purchase, yes, of course, there's a lot of mis-selling that happens. But when it comes to group insurance, it's a very plain vanilla product. Hardly any terms and conditions involved. Everything is covered from day one. There's no medical check. And the prices are also very much visible to you. So, the scope of mis-selling, I would say that is much lower on a group insurance side. But the bigger problem is awareness.
Yeah.
That employees don't even know that who the insurance company is, who is the person to be contacted in case of a claim scenario, and they'll always bother the HR whenever there's an event of claim. So we want to solve that problem where we would pre-engage an employee at the time of their insurance policy purchase that these are the benefits, this is how you should avail, and even engage them to access health and wellness programs through which they can take active care of their health and pursue a healthier lifestyle.
Got it. Even the industry, we call it as InsureTech now, technology into the insurance. How are you seeing this industry evolving in India, and are there any companies you look up to that they are doing very great kind of work?
So I would say that this industry is at that very cusp of an inflection point, because we've seen that the likes of digital payment companies, digital lending companies that have seen a lot of traction coming in, because India is a capital deficit country. Likewise, India is an insurance deficit country as well. And post the COVID pandemic, that awareness and the seriousness, sensitivity to that subject has awakened. So everyone is now looking at insurance as the next big thing within fintech. So that is the reason I feel that the InsureTech, anyone who's solving a genuine problem within the insurance space, whether it's manufacturing or distribution, is doing their bit to serve the society better. So, and if you ask me which are the companies that I would look forward to, so I would say that there are multiple ones. I would say the likes of Discovery, InsureTech, who are solving the infrastructure distribution problem, or to the likes of Policy Bazaar, Turtle Mint, who have been solving the retail insurance side, to the likes of us being in the same space as our peers, say whether it's Plum, Onsurity or Pascare. So we feel that together we are disrupting this space and eventually we are solving a purpose.
Whenever you're starting a startup, you may require, there is time when you have to raise funds, and you have raised funds also. Tell us your experience about those, when you go to raise money, like if somebody is starting, how should he think about it, कि fundraise कब करना है, कहाँ से करना है?
So I guess the fundamental question to answer is कि fundraise करना भी है या नहीं. So for us, the case was that we had to be a licensed distributor of insurance products, for which we needed some minimum capital requirements. And for that reason, we had to raise some pre-seed funding. Otherwise, if you would have asked me, I would have not even raised any form of capital, because I felt that the business was manageable to a point where I could invest out of my own pocket, or my co-founder could have invested from his own pocket. But the case was that we needed to raise some capital to get going. And that is when we approached friends and family in our circle. And believe me that it's a huge challenge, because if you are pre-product, you always need to keep justifying yourself that what is it that you are going to solve, how is it that you will solve, and why would you survive over the likes of say the ones who already exist. So dealing with that same question every day becomes taxing, but it improves or strengthens your resolve. It prepares you for that the follow-on set of fundraise conversations that you would have in future. So I felt that it helped us introspect as to why are we doing what we are doing. And even with friends and family, I would say that the round that we raised for pre-seed was not as easy to come by. But in fact, being from this chartered accountant fraternity, we could design a few things ourselves. Like we built our own term sheet and we went to investors and we asked them to sign up. But once we had some known reputed faces coming in, getting the other set of investors was very, very easy. And thereafter, we raised the next round of financing from the likes of Inflection Point Ventures, We Founder Circle, Let's Venture, Campus Fund, Dexter Angels. So all of them were very much forthcoming. Like they are the ones who we had approached in pre-seed, and they said that they would want to see some traction so that we could invest. So the moment we built the product, everyone started chasing us that we feel that okay, you've delivered. So let us support you in this journey, and that is when the likes of other investors came in.
Got it. Understood. So
But yes,
I think
fundraise is not as easy as we would think it from outside.
Got it. If you have to give some suggestions to the viewers who have some ideas in their mind, but it's of course difficult to leave something else and start working on that idea, what suggestions will you give?
So I would say that get going or get started, because the idea is so good as what you execute. So start having, say, a proxy product or a proxy service and start reaching out to your users. Like to give you an example, I was moonlighting alongside my previous job, and at that time I signed up with one of a private insurance companies, and I got the license to sell COVID group health insurance products. So at that point in time, it was very unique that nobody had designed a COVID specific group insurance product, and there was this one or two companies who were doing that. So I immediately wrote to the CEO and I told him that I want to engage with your team and this is my dream, but I want to get started, and will you help me connect to the right folks? So believe me that if you go top down, people there in the fraternity will support you and will partner with you if you lay out your intentions clearly. So we started testing out the market by pitching COVID group health insurance, and side by side understanding the wider set of dynamics on the insurance and the health and wellness programs. How do corporates manage it? What are the challenges they see? So we got a talking point when we started doing this. And I'm sure that whichever industry, whatever idea you build, you can build a prototype and start testing it out by meeting your potential users.
And identifying the problems which you can solve. And when you go and talk to the lot of customers, then you know कि pain point किधर है, and you have to pitch that.
Correct.
Got it. Also, there's a lot of changes now we are seeing in even who becomes CA. Earlier there was only like taxation, audit, or that were the fields where people used to be. Now people have started entering into different fields, consulting, private equity, now even startups. So it's like, how do you see that changing now? When you see that startup CAs are not restricted to that, आजकल startup में भी है, खुद का कुछ करने के लिए कर रहे हैं, and अलग-अलग consulting jobs में भी है. How do you feel about that?
One such example is yourself, I believe, that you've been into PE industry, then now you're working with
a startup,
a very good reputed startup, being part of the founder's office. So it's good to see that the world is evolving and the perception around CAs is changing, as I said. So the opportunities are galore, and I feel that it is that set of community which so far has been, you could say, aloof from the business side of roles. And it's not their fault as well, because they have been part of a curriculum or a courseware where a tier 2 audience would go. If you look at the traditional way of people choosing their academic line, whether it's science or commerce, so tier 1 would go for science and tier 2 would go for commerce. But very few people realize that people are on purpose, despite being the tier 1 audience, may actually want to do commerce for the sake of CA, because it's a very well structured curriculum. It opens up your horizon, it gives you exposure to the business side of things, but it doesn't give you access to business side of roles, which is actually now started happening. And I'm very happy that if people like you and me are able to set that examples for the budding CAs, that yes, while you've academically studied CA, but it also opens up roles into business side.
Correct. Understood. I think also even when we start our articleship, we are like what, 19, 20, and it gives exposure to that, like working in that conditions, and then we are prepared for it. Like you can clear by 22, 23, you become CA, then you have options to explore. And that now people are accepting, then people can go. People can also come to HealthySure.
I would always hate the fact that whenever we prepare any of our applications, that 3 years articleship or internship is not even counted as a work ex, where actually it's a full-time work ex, and you're managing multiple responsibilities.
I think that should be considered, but okay, that's fine. So we are moving to a last round, which is lightning round. I will ask questions. You, whatever comes to your mind, you have to say. Most boring subject in CA prep?
So I would say audit. But yes, the paradox is that I was all India rank 1 in auditing subject in my final CA. Though
Oh,
despite finding it too boring, because of course it has all theory around.
Correct.
But yes, managed to somehow crack it.
One teacher or any teachers you come to mind which you miss attending lectures of?
Okay, so I guess many of people would not agree with me, but it was Durgesh sir for me. He taught us taxation into final CA.
Oh.
And he was one such professor who I could continue to listen for hours and hours, because he would not worry about the curriculum. He would always talk about like very fundamental principles of why this tax laws have been built this way. What was the genesis of it? I always like to understand the background of things before getting into things, and that actually transpires into our first principles thinking, even
I think that is
when
required.
it comes to business.
Why something is written or something is made, but it's very important.
Yep.
So you understand कि अब क्या होगा इसमें. Okay, got it. Early riser or night owl?
I would say balanced, because I'm neither a too early a riser, but not waking up or staying up very well late into the night. So I would close my day by 12:31 and get up by 7:38. So it's balanced.
And what about when you were doing CA?
हाँ, तो CA के वक्त तो मे बी 1 बजे सो के 6 बजे उठ जाना पड़ता था, because of course you had multiple things to manage.
Yeah. Which Indian startups excite you other than your insurance space?
So I would say it's an interesting one. Razorpay, that tops my list, because they've been a category creator of sorts.
Correct.
Like they've disrupted the payment gateway, and they've been one of the pioneers here into the fintech space. Second is Infra Market. It's a B2B company. Like वो traditional घिसी पिटी industry of construction को उन लोग ने पूरा disrupt कर दिया. So and plus they are also already profitable and a unicorn.
Correct.
So yeah, these two startups I really look forward to, and I'm sure there are many more.
Many, of course.
But these are two that top my list.
So what was your reaction after getting All India rank? So Anuj is an All India rank 12 in CA final.
So I would say it was all tears. कि मतलब I always felt that I've done justice in terms of preparing for the exams and even giving. In fact, I cried after my first exam because I thought that I possibly could have solved more questions and I didn't. But it so happened that I took it up on its stead and just went along with the flow, and never realized that okay, the subsequent exams are still there to be. Correct. And you cannot sulk over one that has gone back.
You should never.
So that eventually helped, and I really didn't expect that it would be the case, but it so happened that okay, it justified the effort that I had put in.
Wow. So when you saw the result, the number, you thought क्या, क्योंकि रैंक के लिए अपन वापस चेक करते हैं.
हाँ.
You knew कि ये स्कोर में कुछ रैंक
उस पे समझ आ गया था कि हाँ ये काफी अच्छा स्कोर है, तो अब इसको टेस्ट करें. पर एक्चुअली मेरे फ्रेंड्स ने मेरा रिजल्ट पहले ही चेक कर दिया था. उन लोग ने बोल दिया था कि अरे तेरे को रैंक लग गया, तू देख ले.
Nice. Favorite memory of your articleship days?
I would say that there were times at which I had to fake that I'm a full-time consultant and I'm not an article and represent the team before the client.
Correct.
So there have been many such instances, and that is what that articleship role is very critical. Like everyone who's watching the show, I would always say that don't think of yourself as an intern or an article assistant.
Yeah.
Always think of yourself that you've been here
Representing.
and representing the firm as a full-time permanent employee or associate.
Also recommend them that everyone should do their articleship seriously.
हाँ, मतलब वो काफी important है.
That is very
Yes, one can always debate the number of years, 3 years or 2 years, but it's very important, and it gives you that license to even experiment, fail, and you just need good people around you to sail through that journey. Correct. Because it is exhaustive.
Last question, what is success for you?
I would say success is seeing that what you envision evolve before your eyes. So if that's happening, that's success.
That is a very good answer to this. Thank you Anuj for coming on the show and giving us.
It was my pleasure. I hope that I could add value to what the viewers would otherwise see.
For sure.
But yes, I would wish you all the very luck that you have started an interesting initiative, and it gives a good platform for various entrepreneurs or various professionals to, you could say, discuss their thoughts and maybe interact with the audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anuj.